when to say their names out loud. I can see the feet they're growing. You better catch them while you can. I can see the people they've become. In the blink of an eye, they're 10 feet tall. Look just like you, look just like me, but made to make you feel so small. True and false, it's all at once. You never give back what costs so much. This kid that runs through heart and head, racing you to the bitter end. See the creatures in my head. Never thought I'd find them next to you. Oh, we don't need to satisfy them, and they don't need to be inside. True and false, it's all at once. You never give back what costs so much. This kid that runs through heart and head, racing you to the bitter end.
Oh God, it's the winter. I'm a winter in the summer. I'm a nothing feeling nothing. My head is freezing cold. She says it's seasonal. Why don't I believe it though? I'm only cold when it's colder. She wants to set me on fire. I won't be this numb for the rest of my life. It's only lonely weather, it melts with the eyes. Just give it some time, sometime. So go and grab your sweater, the one that you like, and give it some time, sometime. Feet up in the clouds, flowers in the rain. Weather's clearing up, why the hell does it look the same? I'm a nothing feeling nothing. My head is freezing cold. She says it's seasonal. Why don't I believe it though? It's only lonely weather, it melts with the eyes. Just give it some time, sometime. So go and grab your sweater, the one that you like, and give it some time, sometime. It's only lonely weather. It's only lonely weather. Give it some time. It's only lonely weather. It's only lonely weather. In the thick of December, in the cracks of my mind, I know it's there, won't be scared when the fall leaves die. I'm only cold when it's colder. She wants to set me on fire. I won't be this numb for the rest of my life. It's only lonely weather, it melts with the eyes. Just like I'm not enough. Maybe I lost the plot. Tongue tied around the bitter fruit. Who am I after tasting you? Little fires on the passenger side. I could tell the truth or I could keep telling pretty lies. Keep telling pretty lies. Keep telling pretty lies.
I kept the secret safe, sick in a secret way, telling a pretty lie, ugliest way to die. I killed a story off, I got a new plan, got talking who's there, I made a new prayer, sleep at the wheel again, I took an Ambien, I love the ambiance, I swear to God I'm lost, face to the sunset, back to the sunrise, cruising 100, darting on closed eyes.
Tongue tied around the bitter fruit. Who am I after tasting you? Little fires on the passenger side. I could tell the truth or I could keep telling pretty lies. I could tell the truth or I could keep telling pretty lies. 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 I don't wanna keep telling pretty lies to you. I can't explain how much this light speed at the crack of dawn. Hummingbird with the high beams on, but I see no faults. I'm falling. I'm in love with the sunset rays. Someone cut me off one more lane. I'll go until you call. Just don't leave me hanging on this line.
I can't explain how much it hurts. Every second's getting worse.
I can't stand to see you falling. There's not a next time, just a flat line. You're losing more than what you're
I can't explain how much it hurts. Every second's getting worse.
I can't stand to see you falling. There's not a next time, just a flat line. You're losing more than what you're worth.
Light speed at the crack of dawn. Hummingbird with the high beams on, but I see no faults. I fall, I'm falling. I'm in love with the Somerset rays. Someone cut me off one more lane. I'll go until you call. Just don't leave me hanging on this line. I can't explain how much it hurts. Every second's getting worse.
I can't stand to see you falling. There's not a next time, just a flat line. You're losing more than what you're worth. I can't explain how much this hurts.
Can't explain how much it hurts. Every second's getting worse.
I can't stand to see you falling. Not a next time, just a flat line. You're losing more than what you're worth. I'll stop, you won't. Green lights in a yellow coat. You trace the pages of this book of truth. You find ones that speak to you. You find ones that are easy to cut. You cry wolf, just to cover it up. When I'm with you, your colors bleed, and others see the change in you. Yeah, it's true. No other being. No, it really suits you, and it's up to you. And the weight is gone. The weight is gone. You're right, I'm not. Don't say things you've never meant. I'll stop, you won't. I don't wanna die with you. You tear the pages of this book of lies. Find ones that keep the fight. Find ones that are easy to cut. You cry wolf, just to cover it up. When I'm with you, your colors bleed, and others see the change in you. Yeah, it's true. No other being. No, it really suits you, and it's up to you. And the weight is gone. The weight is gone.
And the weight is gone.
The weight is gone. And the weight is gone. And the weight is gone. The weight is gone. And the weight is gone.
Your story makes you who you are. That's the composition of you.
We have the privilege and the burden of synthesizing our lives from two diverse cultures.
Hey everyone, it's Julie Young for Korean American Story and Not Your Average.
He is not playing, guys, right?
Welcome to K-Pod, the podcast about Korean Americans and arts and culture from Korean American Story.
I am just another one of many, and I am seen as one of the few.
Make some noise, LA.
Well, our very first student jump.
Whatever story you have, others have it too.
Discovering the adopted communities really helped me learn to embrace myself fully.
I remember holding your hands and telling you that let's just face what's out there and let's experience it.
This is my
Korean American.
Korean American story.
Welcome everyone to Korean American Stories 2021 Virtual Roar Story Slam. We are coming to you live from New York, New Jersey, California, Washington, Illinois, and Utah. My name is Vivian Lee. I'm a member of the board at Korean American Story and your MC tonight. Some of you may be familiar with Korean American Story's Roar competitions from years past. These were very cathartic events with tears of laughter and empathy flowing from audiences in 3 major cities. Hundreds of people attended each of those story slams. The pandemic, of course, forced us to cancel 2020's Roar Story Slam, but preparing for this Roar in the second year of this pandemic has been a real joy for us at Korean American Story. The theme for tonight is My Taboo. The inspiration for these performances, personal but tantalizingly familiar stories. So, a very big thank you, first of all, to our sponsors for tonight's Roar competition. Our event sponsors were Paul Kim and Lucy Lee, and our corporate sponsor is LG Electronics. Thank you also to our community partners. Closed captioning, by the way, is available below for those who are deaf or hard of hearing. Meanwhile, audience and participants, please use the hashtag Roar2021 when you post to social media. And also, please don't be shy this evening to show how much you truly feel about this event and Korean American Stories' ongoing efforts to tell stories by us, for us, and about us. Please support KAS in that effort by donating whatever you can. You can do so by texting KAS to 44321. That's 44321. Our judges tonight, you, our audience. Unlike in years past when we had a panel of judges, we decided to make this truly interactive. You will vote by using the link below in the description area and also in the chat box. The voting will start after every single performance has been done. The general criteria when considering your score for each participant is, was it a good story? How good was the content in terms of language, imagery, and persona? Did it grab and hold your attention? And were you moved? Finally, how effectively did that storyteller deliver it? And contestants, you are reminded that you will be timed for your performance. And if you go over 6 minutes and 10 seconds, you will be disqualified. If that happens, you will be notified, as will I, by KAS staff. And now, our 6 contestants. These intrepid storytellers beat out numerous others, 20 to be exact, by presenting a facet of Korean American life that encompasses taboo. That was the theme that we based our call for submissions on. Some of the material, by the way, is graphic, but all of it percolates to something very essential in the storyteller's experience. A special thanks must be expressed to our submissions panel of judges. Abraham Kim from the Council of Korean Canadians, Paul Kim and Lucy Lee are sponsors, Diana Son and Grace Lee are board members. Thank you also to our storytelling coach, Sheila Traister. She provided professional coaching sessions to all of our finalists. And thank you to our Roar Story Slam team tonight, Ann Cho, Jeannie Park, H.J. Lee, Jessica Park, Deborah Peck, Yoon Lee, and AJ Valente for making this event happen live. Now, before each contestant performs, a short introductory video will be played, followed immediately by their performance. So, without further ado, let's begin the Roar Story Slam competition. Our first contestant is well-traveled, both in the conventional sense and in the sense of her inner space as a parent. At the time of the submission, she was planning a major move across the country. Everyone, please welcome Linda Beck.
My name is Linda Beck. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom to an 8-year-old son and 12-year-old rescue dog. After undergrad, I moved to New York City for optometry school. And so I guess optometrist is my official job description. And I enjoyed it mainly because I enjoy helping people. So there is one good thing about the pandemic for my relationship with my mom. So at least for the last year, my mom hasn't questioned my decision that I have never enrolled my son in school. I unschool my son, which means he doesn't attend any type of school. He learns things naturally just by living, by experience, by trial and error, and by researching things together. The most important lessons I want to impart on him isn't something that can be memorized or can even be learned in a classroom. Like most people, I think, learn everything through story. I'm an aspiring writer too. I'm currently working on the first draft of my first novel. And of course, it's about a Korean American family and a Korean Chinese American family. I look forward to meeting everyone at Korean American Story in person one day. I plan to go. And me being Korean, I should get 100%. Unfortunately, it was not that type of test. It wasn't something I could study my way out of. 1 week before the party, my doctor calls me. Linda, the test results came back. It's positive for trisomy 21. If you don't want to continue with the pregnancy, I can set you up with the doctor as early as Monday. But I'm finally 14 weeks pregnant after 1 year of trying and 3 months of fertility drugs. Trisomy 21 is Down syndrome. So I asked my doctor, in all other respects, is the fetus healthy? Like if I choose to continue, will I deliver? He answers, yes, it's a very viable pregnancy right now. So if you choose to continue, we'll continue with normal care. Over the next few days, so many thoughts raced through my mind. Some of the brutally honest ones being, what will my mom say? Will my baby be ugly? What will my friends say? Will my baby be stupid? Can someone with Down syndrome get into Harvard? Will my mom look at my baby with eyes of disappointment all the time, like the look she gives me ever since I quit my full-time job? Is this happening because I didn't follow the script for being a good Korean girl? You see, I was pregnant, but unmarried. I had a degree in optometry, but I wasn't really practicing. I was 33 years old, and I still didn't know exactly what I was doing with my life. I just knew what I didn't want to do, which was everything my mom wanted me to do. I was the taboo of my family. But deep inside, just like my mom, I was a tiger mom too. I wanted a super baby, super smart, super attractive, super advanced. I would research all the best preschools, buy the best baby gear, toys, food to ensure my baby achieves optimal development. I would teach my baby sign language, foreign languages, animal languages. I would be there for my baby since I didn't have to work at a hospital like my mom did. I wouldn't have to put my baby in daycare like my mom did. I would be a better mom than my mom. I was wrong. My love was conditional. Just like how I grew up thinking my mom wouldn't love me unless I got straight A's into a prestigious college and into the right career, my love for my baby shrank because all those possibilities for her suddenly became impossible. The thing I needed to hear my mom say when I was 16, I felt like my life was not worth living because I couldn't meet her expectations, was the very thing I could not say to the baby growing inside me. My love was conditional. Before this, I thought I was brave and courageous because I went against the mainstream by leaving my secure job, moving to a new city, and starting a new business. I thought I was comfortable taking risks, being a little different. I was wrong. I was no different than any of my peers. I too wanted the perfect, beautiful family to post on social media. I wanted an opportunity to brag. Ultimately, I wanted a child that could post their Ivy League acceptance reaction on TikTok. I never made it to my friend's son's stool. I wasn't brave enough to continue with the pregnancy. I didn't have the courage to be a mother to a special needs child. So what exactly was the taboo? Was it that I killed my baby? Or that I live in a society and culture that makes it acceptable given the circumstances? Or that I made my decision out of fear and shame? By pure luck, redemption, and the grace of God, I got pregnant again, naturally. So I had a chance to really evaluate how I was going to raise this child, which raises these questions. Is it a taboo to choose to become a stay-at-home mom, or to not enroll your child in school, or even want them to go to college, let alone an Ivy League school? Or to not be a tiger mom, but instead support your child in finding their own dreams and living their own life? Some of you may think all of them are taboos. I now think none of them are. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom to an 8-year-old boy, and we're proudly raising him to not do anything simply for the sake of receiving external validation from me or from society. And I know I'm a good mom now because he's growing up knowing and believing me when I say, I love you just because you are you.
Thank you to Linda. And thank you to our audience for being patient, because since we're zooming in from so many locations, there's a bit of a turnaround that's necessary. So you will be seeing that standby message after each performance. Thank you once again to Linda for opening up. Our next performer comes to us from Utah. He puts his nose to the grindstone, but his eyes to the sky. And somewhere in between, he searches for connection. Everyone, please welcome Paul Kim.
Hello everybody, my name is Paul Kim. I'm 27 years old. I'm currently living in Spanish Fork, Utah, but I'm originally from California, and I am a full-time vagabond. 3 fun facts about me. First fun fact, I live in a Krishna temple, I work with lamas, I farm, and I sometimes do things that make having gotten a BA worthwhile. Second fun fact, my one claim to fame is that I was in a nationwide AIG Japan commercial, and not because I'm like super good looking or anything, but because I was really I guess I was really convincing as one of the 3 little pigs, and I did the whole commercial in a animatronic pig mask. And fun fact number 3, I identify as a Cancer and not as a Leo. This Venus tattoo on my wrist is proof of my astrology cred, my astrology street cred. And it's called Vedic astrology. It's a whole different calendar. I highly recommend it. You should definitely Google it and look it up.
This one's for you, Solsib. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Dear Oma, I remember the time when no one, not Appa, not Nuna, not Hyung, and definitely not Hanne, wanted to go to church with you on Sunday, so you just took me. This was a fight you fought often, and alone, because you were stalwart in your faith. After the service was over, I waited for you to finish talking with your friends in our beat-up Nissan Quest minivan. As I sat in the driver's seat, pretending to be the one to drive us home, I stared up at the gray sky. It was drizzling, and the rainy weather added to the inexplicable sense of unease that often shrouded over me as a child. You treated us to McDonald's afterwards and ordered in your broken English, a Big Mac for you and a kid's meal for me. Sunday was your only day off, so why not make the most of it? We went to Borders, and you found us a secluded corner in the kids section, where you sat gushing over the latest women's fashion in vogue. And I read anything that was supposed to make me smarter. It was like our own little date, just the 2 of us. Oma, you were always so proud of me. This little light of mine, as an adorable little kid, I'm gonna let it shine. As a hormonal teenager with a face full of acne, this little light of mine. And as a young man, thousands of miles away, trying to find his way in the world, I'm gonna let it shine. I was the son who didn't take no for an answer. I was the son who got into an Ivy League school. I was the son who fueled your Han. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, for more than 20 years, you sold socks, bras, and nipple covers in whatever language that got the deal done. Una docena, 20. Hola, oregamaniyo. Yes, we just got those in, you'd say, almost on autopilot, because you had a quota to meet. You had to pay for my hagwon. You had to send me money every week across the country. You had to make sure I was never in a position to have to put down a pack of stock because I couldn't afford it. Every morning, you opened your store with your toshirak of pap, kim, and kimchi in hand, staring down the fear and the anxiety of possibly not selling enough that day. This both hardened you and hollowed you out. Let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Oma, I like men. Oma, I tell you this and you walk out into a street full of cars, leaving your sundubu half-eaten. Oma, I hear you crying all night long and you beat your chest so hard, you show me bruises. Oma, I spent so much time in the dark. At 27, I still can't say with full certainty I know exactly who I am. I came out to you that night because I needed to let whatever's inside of me a chance to breathe. Oma, you were there every time I won an award. You were there every time I fought for you because your English wasn't good enough to get I fought for you. You were there every time I fought for you because you couldn't get your point across in English. You were there every time I played the role of the son who made your struggles worthwhile. But you weren't there when I prayed to God every night for years to make me straight. You weren't there on the days that I was too anxious to leave my dorm room because I was afraid of running into a man I liked. You aren't there for all of the times that I'm afraid to let people know I like men because I'm afraid they'll reject and ridicule me. Oma, when I sang those words alongside all the other kids at church, how did you imagine I would shine? In a business suit and tie? Atop one of the countless skyscrapers you would point out to me as a kid and exclaim would be mine one day, alongside a wife and kids? Oma, I want to shine, but not in the way you probably imagined. I want this light that I came into this world with to not have to hide behind a curtain. And I want it to shine even at the risk of burning out. I want this light to warm up the parts of you had to dim just to survive. I want this little light of mine to shine alongside yours. But I know that will take time. I love and miss you, Paul.
I just bought a new whip. Spend a couple thousand just to cruise it. Shawty said she love me, but I swear she'll never prove it. I never tell her, but I put it in the music. Well, that's okay. All I wanna do is make the best of my whole day. Thank the Lord up above, get the cream on the side, make you laugh to know it. That's the stuff that I love, la la da da da. We can be friends.
Thank you so much to Paul Kim for his story. Our third performer tonight holds down numerous jobs, all of them having in common the act or intent of caring for someone else. Please welcome Myung.
Hello everyone, my name is Myung. Let me first tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 20 years old. I'm Korean and Indonesian, and I'm currently studying public health and global poverty and practice at UC Berkeley. But currently I'm taking a gap semester and working 3 part-time jobs to pay the rent and the like. So first, I currently work at Alliance for Girls, the largest regional alliance of girl-serving organizations that aims to achieve gender equity for gender-expansive youth. And second, I work as a youth consultant at Bantusire Asian Health Services, which is an anti-trafficking, anti-sexual assault organization that provides culturally competent resources for Southeast Asian young women. And last but not least, I work at Upward Bound Math and Sciences, which is a pre-college readiness program for low-income first-generation youth as a tutor and teacher associate. So I'm excited to have this platform and show you what I've got, and I look forward to presenting, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
When you have family gatherings, have you been warned about that one uncle to stay away from? That one uncle whose beady eye stares at you and your cousins, who are all children, a little longer, a little bit too much, so that your stomach fills, not on the foods your aunties, grandmother, and mother made, but fills from disgust. That one uncle who hugs you a little bit too tightly and too roughly in all the wrong places, places that you will start to hate when growing up. That one uncle whose name tastes like the spinach you avoided in your plate, but ended up inside of you anyways. What do you do when that one uncle is your own father? What do you do when what he does is not to you, but to your own mother, who says she doesn't want it, but he says she's a bad wife otherwise, says that it's her duty, says that it's legal, even though it's not? For my father, patriarchy is alive and well, especially in the tradition of marriage. So now, what do you do when you see this version of love so warped and distorted and twisted that you don't want it or anything associated with it, that you disassociate yourself from your body every time he demands a kiss on both cheeks and a hug from you, for weeks ruminating whether you should speak up, hating yourself for staying meek and quiet, cowering in fear in this game of eternal hide and seek, knowing that his hands are the reason why your mother doesn't want you to marry a Korean man? So now I can only watch as he watches his K-dramas and tells my mother, why aren't you like that? Watching as fantasy and reality becomes blurred such that no therapist would be able to understand, no friends who are best friends with their parents would be able to understand, and what stranger could I turn to? So I turned inwards, hating my own skin and blood, knowing that is shared with him and a product of him, wondering if my birth was a product of love or rape. Wondering if I will continue the same cycle of intergenerational trauma and violence. Wondering if one day I will be able to hug my mother, both of us so afraid of physical touch when it is the love language he demands the most. Knowing that I cannot deny him because he is my father. After all, he is the one who pours the tea into my cup. Growing up, when people used to ask me what I feared the most, I used to think, turning out like my father, until I realized that I had already been normalizing and acting out the same behaviors he had. Because when you are the daughter of an abuser, you learn the best from the best. So you lose friendships and relationships until you are able to build yourself up from bare bones and stitch yourself up back together without the guidance of your mother, a healing process so isolating, you find loneliness itself your constant companion. Is this how lonely my mother must have felt, whose friendships terminated upon marriage with my father, her contract with loneliness? So now when people ask me what I fear the most, I think, turning out like my mother, who tells me she can deal with all that my father has done to her and will do to her as long as me, my sister, and her have a roof over our heads. But this roof is all but a facade of a loving, thriving family. And I hate being a doll in a 2-story house that is beck and call, because as much as my mother is a trophy wife, I am a trophy daughter. So this is my taboo, because these thoughts will just stay in my head lest I air out the dirty laundry and bring shame to me, myself, and I and my family. And this is why I hate going to family gatherings, knowing that those supposedly closest to me are the most unaware of what happens behind closed doors. So this is our taboo. Thank you.
We could just talk if you wanna. We could hold hands if you wanna. Hey, tell me what you wanna do. We could just laugh if you wanna. Late nights under stars if you wanna. We could just kiss if you wanna. Hey, tell me what you wanna do. It's like the story of my life. Best friends, but we rocking all the same things. Say you need me, but you really tryna change lanes. Well, I don't even care. In my life, I don't battle with no fear. If fighting dragons, always been a real one. Hate you saying showing love, you a real chameleon. Get the facts.
Thank you, Riss, for telling that story. Our next performer comes to us from Washington State. She loves to nurture nature. She also makes her living studying one aspect of nature with the goal of benefiting humankind. Everyone, please welcome Cheryn Simpson.
Hi, my name is Cheryn Simpson and I'm 33 years old. I am a scientist. My research is focused on creating a vaccine for lung cancer. I am an avid gardener. For years, I've been starting my own seedlings, and this year I have started a whole new endeavor growing flowers from seed. I discovered this beautiful farm, working on growing them right now. So this is my basement seedling operation. Especially with the pandemic, I've been really nostalgic for a lot of the Korean foods that I grew up with, and because my mom is so far away, I'm finding that I have to make them myself, and was able to get things like chili pepper that you use to make gochugaru and perilla leaves for genyip and Korean mint. So I'm really excited to see how those turn out as well.
Hajima, don't touch. Ouch. My Oma, my mother, tells me not to touch the stove where she's making my favorite spicy Korean stew, kimchi jjigae, and it's bubbling away. I run laps around the small mother of pearl table saying, don't touch, ouch, don't touch, ouch. My ability to speak was a manifest destiny of family prayers. My family worried that this premature baby, born at 26 weeks and weighing only 2 pounds, couldn't talk. I am the daughter of a fierce, independent firecracker of a Korean mother. I'm also the daughter of a white, privileged, Republican, retired military Boston police officer. I drowned in a sea of endless don'ts. Don't talk too loud. Don't interrupt. 시끄럽다, 이딱 쳐. Shut up. Don't let your friends wear their shoes in the house. Don't cry. Don't talk about your feelings. Don't tell me you don't want to be a doctor. And don't dishonor your family. Every don't was another mile wedged between me and my white friends. When it came to my Korean friends, I proved that I was just like them. I went to Hangul Korean church, and I practiced my accent. When I donned my brightly colored traditional dress, my hanbok, I tried not to complain about how itchy it was. I didn't want them to say that I wasn't Korean enough, that I was half or less than. I made sure that my chondema, my formal speech, was on point. A trip to the grocer always ended with, 아이고야, 한국말 잘한대. Your Korean's not bad. As if to say, good for someone not Korean. I was forever caught between, one foot in each world, and I never really belonged in either. I felt like a perpetual ugly duckling. My first day of kindergarten, a kid stared at me. What are you? He said. That may have been the first time I heard those words, but it was definitely not the last. When I said I was Korean, he replied, there's only Chinese and Japanese. The ignorance of this 5-year-old was unexpected. Maybe it's not what, but who. Who are you that matters? You know what wasn't unexpected? Atlanta. He wants to harm you because of what you are. Characteristics dictated by sequences in your DNA that you have no control over. Murder in the name of eliminating temptation. Not his fault, he says. His excuse, the white male's fetish for subservient, obedient Asian women. It doesn't matter who you are. That racial stereotype is part of how I came to be. My very existence is steeped in racism. It's a tea you don't want to drink, but you have no choice. It was brewed long before you, and it will continue to brew long after you're gone. I spent my childhood learning to obey all of these don'ts, the taboos of my parents, without question, to jump at attention, to follow no matter where the path leads. And when neither side will claim you as one of their own, it seems cruel that doors of every direction shut you out. Decades pass, and I wish I could wrap up the girl I left behind, offer her wisdom, solace, or just understanding. Let her know that she's not alone. Words to ensure her that someday doors will open and don'ts will fade into memory. And so it is with me. The don'ts have begun to fade away. I became a scientist. I spend my days talking back and questioning my elders. I define these erstwhile taboos as scientific collaboration, innovation, and education. I'm becoming who I want to be. I'm giving back to the world by exploring the do's and letting go of my childhood taboos. The only don't in my vocabulary now is just don't stop. Thank you.
Like, we could be friends if you wanna. We could just talk if you wanna. We could hold hands if you wanna. Hey, tell me what you wanna do. We could just laugh if you wanna. Late nights under stars if you wanna. We could just kiss if you wanna. Hey, tell me what you wanna do.
Thank you, Cheryn, for telling that story. Our next performer is a disability rights lawyer, and she's very active in her community. She too works to help others. Everyone, please welcome E.
My name is E. I'm a disability. Help disability is affordable. That is the very legal advocate for the everyday legal needs of people with disabilities and their families. I also started a nonprofit helping people with people with
throughout the holidays for me. I also have a doctor to me.
Whenever I see the Korean American janitor in the halls, I give a slight bow towards his direction from my wheelchair. This doesn't fit my anti-honorific Korean swearing self. Or does it? On the drive to one of my uncle's Korean New Year's parties, I announced loudly to my parents that it was against my religion to bow to my dad's relatives. My dad replied that I still had to do it. It was one of several annual parties my dad's siblings threw in their extra-large Chicago suburban mini mansions, during which someone would inevitably be upset that my mom wasn't hosting. As the youngest sister-in-law, it was expected that she do more for all the parties, even though she repeatedly explained she had her hands full with me, and our two-bedroom house would be too small to fit everyone. Furthermore, my uncles, who loved drinking, would expect my dad, who hadn't had a drink since I was born, to make the beer runs. When it was my turn to bow, my eldest uncle said I didn't have to, like us an accommodation, but my dad insisted that I do, helping me stand with his arms around me. I locked my knees, fighting to stand straight in that wooden-walled living room. But I didn't last long with my dad pushing me down, forcing my super skinny pre-teenage body to my knees. To anyone else, it would have just looked like a spastic girl with cerebral palsy bowing with help. Damn it, my disability masked my protest. I didn't care about the enveloped money that we received from Boeing. It went straight into my dad's black pleather wallet for safekeeping, never to be seen again. My sister, she didn't care about the money either, but being my younger, doing everything adults told her to do, able-bodied, pigtailed sister, she eagerly participated in the antiquated ritual. After we ate our plates of colorful Korean buffet side dishes, soup, and rice, my sister and I sat along a wooden wall near my uncle's laundry room that always smelt of leaking gas. From there, we would watch the adults talk into the dark night after all our cousins, high school aged and older, scurried away to hang out together upstairs. I didn't want to be there. Somehow, I always knew my relatives never wanted me there either. With whispers I could clearly hear encouraging my parents to institutionalize me, to have me live with other kids with disabilities, instead of with my parents and my sister. And somehow I always knew or grew to know that my existence with my physical disability was considered too taboo for my dad's relatives and Korean culture to handle. Like how when we ate at Korean restaurants, or got the deep red seafood noodle soup and the saucy noodles in black bean sauce at our favorite Koreanized Chinese places, someone almost always approached our family, making small talk about how they have a friend or relative who has a child with a disability too. Then they proceed to say, not at a whisper level, but in an everyday conversational tone, that the child with a disability is very happy living in an institution, and the child's parents visit regularly with Korean food. I'd sit there, politely quiet, thinking, if my parents did that to me, I'd refuse seeing or talking to them ever again. Or the time when my gamo took us to a shoe store in Koreatown, and the male store owner kept looking at me, too old to be held up on my mom's back, yet still perched there, and he refused to honor my gamo's coupon. My mom insisted that it wasn't because of my disability, but I knew it was, especially after Gamo said on the way out that he probably thought we brought bad luck as his first customers that day. I don't know if it's the changing of the times, or the fact that I am now an attorney, which my mom likes proclaiming to anyone. But talks of institutions have vanished. My dad's relatives, however, still talk about me, as if I am not sitting directly across the table from them. And now when the occasion arises, I visit my uncles, dying alone, in Medicaid nursing home beds, where they share a room with another elderly dying stranger. Paint is chipping off the walls. There's an out-of-service elevator, but they have a really nice-looking lobby. I feel ironically sad. I wonder if it even occurs to them this is what they had wished for me.
Thank you, E, for sharing your story. Our final performer tonight has been on a lifelong journey of transformation, and through all the challenges, he still finds time to spend with his mom. Everyone, please welcome Jaximus Park.
Hello, my name is Jaximus Park, Jax for short. My Korean name is Park Hyunwoo. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm 21 years old. I'm originally from San Jose, California, but I currently live in Seattle, Washington. And currently, I'm a senior in undergrad studying at Seattle University for my BA in psychology and my minors in Asian studies and Japanese. Some fun facts about me is that I've recently started to learn ukulele by myself. Take my hand, take my whole life too. I also really like cooking. You know, no wonder my mom made me do this, because I think the last time I made this, I spent like a good 20 minutes just doing this. So get ready for a long ride. And I also like playing hatu or hanafuda with my mom.
정말 고상한 여자야.
거짓말이다. Yeah, that's my intro.
For the first 16 years of my life, I was dueling an unknown enemy, aimlessly swinging in the dark for some sort of answer. On occasion, my sword would land, signaling that I had made a mark on this nameless foe with invisible wounds. Until one day in high school, a foe bore its name that I could finally understand: gender dysphoria. I began my life as the youngest daughter, pushed into a box filled with norms and expectations of femininity as an up-and-coming Korean woman. It began with dolls and dresses, and soon seeped into many dimensions of my life. I was forced into conformity, with my individuality muffled by silent societal standards based on my gender at birth, leaving me to rummage in the dark for any sort of foothold in self-expression going against the current. My first foothold was with my hair. When I was younger, I had the classic bowl cut, and I loved it. It was short, and no one really knew whether I was a boy or a girl. And as a kid, I lived for that confusion and that lack of fixation on who I should be. However, that was short-lived, as I was forced to grow out my hair. As my gender obscurity faded, As my gender obscurity faded, my distaste for my hair was silenced by its length as it went past my shoulders and then my waist. And by the time I was in high school, my long, luscious locks of hair, one of the greatest symbols of femininity, was the envy of everyone around me. I, on the other hand, waged a new battle. I had no interest in twisting it into intricate braids when a ponytail could get out of the way just fine. But soon, I wanted that ponytail out of my way too. And one day, on the way home from the dentist, I casually brought up to my mother that I wanted to cut my hair short. How short? Short? Well, how many inches? Many. Your hair has to be at least 4 inches. What? Why? My mother was perplexed. It was as if I was challenging her values. Long, gorgeous hair was of great pride for a Korean woman, and my mother was baffled by my desire to get rid of it all. And so we sparred, oil and water, marked by tears and the pain of being denied and denying those you love. To her displeasure, though, I won that battle, and it was a glimpse of light in a long, dark tunnel with no end in sight. After finding liberation there, I found the fresh, laundry smell of masculinity in what my dad knew as a sports bra. For me, though, it was a binder, a garment used to flatten my chest. In obscuring this traditional symbol of femininity, I realized something. I realized that I was comfortable in being me at long last. However, the sudden tonal shift in gender expression left my parents confused, who then proceeded to lash out in arguments, now hours of tension, both hot in the heat of the moment and cold in the aftermath. They would ask me questions that I knew the answers to, but couldn't articulate back in Korean. At the time, language was a huge wall between me, the American-born Korean, and my parents, the Korean-born Americans that could not understand my broken Korean. So, what's the benefits of being a lesbian? Well, I'm not a lesbian. Well, okay, then what are you? I knew the answer and just wanted to scream. But to them, I was still their maknae, their youngest daughter. I'm not your youngest daughter anymore. Transgender was a word invented long after their departure from the motherland in 1997. The very language and culture that had kept us together soon drove us apart. I was labeled as being too American and was left to my own devices, spiraling in depression and anxiety. Soon came college, though, where I moved my home from California, my home for 18 years, 2 states north to Seattle, Washington. With no one to choose my new clothes or my meals, I found myself understanding more about myself and how I wanted to express myself to the world. So I secretly attempted to start hormone therapy, but stopped after wanting to be more honest to my parents about this big of a life change. Tom's surgery, however, was a smaller life change, and in the summer of 2018, I received my best gift to myself on a surgeon's table in Seoul, South Korea. But my parents just didn't know, that is, until one day, my mother and I went on vacation to the city of Busan and relaxed at a spa, completely naked. She noticed that my chest was smaller and began lecturing me on how harmful hormone pills can be and how awful it is that I did all these things. Mom, I had surgery. From then on, conversations about transness mostly started with a sudden confession. Is this foolish? Some might say maybe, but that's fair. Before I was born, I was given my Korean name, Hyunwoo, by a Buddhist monk. The first character, Hyun, symbolizes the darkness of my life, while the second, Woo, symbolizes the immaturity and foolishness that can help ease its burden. Glimpses of light soon became rays that flooded this darkened tunnel, with moments of gender euphoria brightening the way, giving me confidence to confess to my parents. Oh yeah, my legal name is Jaximus, by the way. Oh, well, we were trained for this moment, I suppose. At this point, my parents are probably more worried about me getting a tattoo than this taboo. I still live in the same tunnel as my taboo, though. And for the longest time, my transit did not have a name, but now he's called non-binary, and my parents call him child. And finally, after so long, the duel has been resolved. I can now drop my sword, hold him in my arms, say my thanks, and call him mine. My identity, my transness, and me, my being.
Thank you, Jaximus, for sharing your story. And I gotta say, I'm so happy I am not a judge because this is going to be such a hard job for our audience. It is time to vote. And you are only voting once. Our staff will be tabulating the winners for the first, second, and third prizes. The remaining, of course, will be our honorable mentions for tonight. I don't believe we have any disqualifications. So excellent job for not only sticking to time to all of our performers, but for supporting each other, because in our Zoom webinar room where we're all coming to you on the live stream, I am seeing everybody giving each other virtual hugs and cheers. And thank you to all the performers for sharing so much of themselves and their Korean Americanness. And I'm so proud that Korean American Story was able to bring you all of you together and to have you share a bit of yourself with us. So go to the link that we've posted in the description box below and in the chat box as well. That's where you're going to cast your vote. And as you do that, try and start that voting process now. You're only choosing one, remember. A gentle plea from Korean American Story. None of this can happen without donations from the community. We are completely driven by donations from our supporters. And tonight we have a very special opportunity to raise even more money to make Story Slams possible. And hopefully in the next Story Slam, it will be in person. Our board member, Karen Kim, is offering to match donations, dollar for dollar, up to $3,000. And that's if you join the Storytellers Circle, which is the monthly donor program. You can give as little as $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. You know the drill, it'll be doubled. And the idea is to have a steady stream of income coming in so that we can bring Story Slam competitions in person to more cities. So far, we've only done New York City, LA, and Chicago. There are so many more Korean American stories that need to be told in person, and we want to make it happen. So if you join our Storyteller Circle as a monthly donor, it will be matched by board member Karen Kim up to $3,000. And you can help make Korean American Story what you see tonight, and even more so. So you can make that donation on koreanamericanstory.org. You can also donate by texting KAS to 44321. And to give us all some time to make our selections, we are proud to present to you our musical performers for tonight, Run River North. They are Alex Huang on guitar and vocals, Daniel Che on guitars and vocals, and Sally Kang. She's on keyboard and vocals. They're performing songs from their new album, Creatures in Your Head. They were formerly known as Monsters Calling Home. There's a story there for sure, but we don't know what it is tonight. And RRN is an American Korean indie folk rock band based in LA. So enjoy the performance while you vote. We will see you in 10 minutes. That's when we'll have the results tabulated. And that's the only time we're going to reveal who the winners are of this 2021 Roar Story Slam. So we'll see you on the other side of 10 minutes. And after we present the awards to the winners and our honorable mentions, there is a Q&A with all of tonight's contestants. So audience, this is your chance to reach out to our performers and pepper them with questions about how they came to be on our stage tonight. So we'll see you in 10 minutes, and happy voting.
All right, okay, y'all ready? Hey everybody, we're Run River North. Thank you so much. Shout out to Roar Story Slam and KoreanAmericanStory.org for having us. We're excited to play some songs off of our new album, Creatures in Your Head. Yeah, let's just get into it. Yeah, Creatures in Your Head. Creatures in Your Head.
All the little creatures in your head it feel so small. True false all at once. We'll never give back what cost so much. This kid that runs through heart and head, racing you to the bitter end. See the creatures in my head. Never thought I'd find them next to you. Oh, we don't need to satisfy them, and they don't need to be inside. True and false, it's all at once. We'll never give back what cost so much. This kid that runs through heart and head, racing you to the bitter end, racing you to the bitter end.
Yeah. My name is Alex. This is Sally. This is Daniel. This is Fer. And this is Andy. Your hair is getting long. Okay? Yeah. Your hair is kind of getting long too. Yeah. Oh yeah. This song is called Spiders, and we wrote this a year ago, literally a year ago.
Crazy.
Wow. Off of that Mellotron. All right. Is this too slow? Is it good?
Spiders up the wall, up to the ceiling. I can't shake them off, 'cause no one sees them. Why the silly face when the room's so serious? No one's happy, it's never enough. Just the way it is, just the way it is. It's just the way it is for now. Just the way it is, just the way it is. It's just the way it is for now. Feel like I'm losing my head, caught up in the pieces don't seem to fit. Don't leave me in the middle of your web spinning yeses and no. I can't make sense of what you don't even know. Just the way it is, just the way it is. It's just the way it is for now. Just the way it is, just the way it is. It's just the way it is for now. Lately I've been stuck like under the desk of a classroom I once slept in.
probably a lot better, you know. You did it good.
That's true.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I don't know if we got this. Yeah. Well, our journey has come to an end. This is our last song. It's called Pretty Lies, and thank you guys for having us. It's always a pleasure to play during this pandemic, and can't wait to play these songs live in a real venue.
Stories off, like I'm not enough. Maybe I lost a plot. Tongue tied around a bit of fruit. Who am I after tasting you? Little fires on the passenger side. I can tell the truth, or I could keep telling pretty lies. In a secret way, telling a pretty lie, ugliest way to die. I killed the story off, I got a new pen. God talking, who's there? I need a new prayer. Took a pill again, I took an Ambien. I love the ambiance, I swear to God I'm lost. Face the sunset, back to the sunrise. Cruising 100, starting on closer. Tongue-tied around a bit of fruit. Who am I after tasting you? Little fires on the passenger side. I could tell the truth, or I could keep telling pretty lies. I could tell the truth, or I could keep telling pretty lies. Keep telling pretty lies to you.
Thank you to Run River North for providing our musical interlude for tonight. And you can enjoy more of their music through Instagram at Run River North. That's at Run River North if you want to. And now the votes have been tallied. And just a reminder of what our winners were vying for. So third prize is $250. Second prize is $500. First prize is $1,000. We are going to go in reverse order and mention our honorable mentions first for this evening. And in no particular order, our honorable mentions are Linda Beck, Paul Kim, and Cheryn Simpson. Congratulations. By the way, there were 140 plus audience members and everybody voted. So you have a good sense of the amount of participation we had from the audience tonight. And now our third prize winner of the Roar Story Slam is Jaximus Park. Congratulations. Our second prize winner of the $500 is Myung. Congratulations. And so that means our first prize winner of the 2021 Roar Story Slam is E. Congratulations, E. And before we move on to our Q&A with each and every performer who's going to participate, we wanted to get a group photo of everybody who was on the stage tonight telling their story. And somebody's gonna give me the cue when it's done. It's all ready, it's all done? Did I blank? Now, okay. Roar Story Slam. There's a second one coming up. Yay, Roar Story Slam. Okay. All right, I think we got that done. Our winners are very eager to share what inspired them. So if everybody could use the link that is in the description and the chat box again to join our Q&A, that means you're going to be joining us where we are right now. You're going to leave the live stream and you're going to go to bit.ly/roarzoom. It's actually really simple. And so once everybody starts to come in, we can start the Q&A. Once again, just a reminder, if you guys donate to Korean American Story, we can have many more of these story slams. Just to put it in perspective, if 20 people donated $25 a month, we could do a story slam. And with board member Karen Kim's generous offer to match up to $3,000 tonight, we can get there with only 10 people joining the Storytellers Circle at $25 a month. So it gives you an idea of how manageable it is, but we can't do it without you. So please donate what you can. Korean American Story is intentionally inclusive. We are all about telling our stories within the community, by our community, for the outside community, and for ourselves. We are about adoptees, LGBTQIA. We are about multiracial and all generations and all levels of ability of Korean Americans to get involved. And we can't be Korean American Story without a lot of participation. So please consider texting KAS to 44321. And congratulations to all of our winners. I gotta say, every single one of you said something that made me want to tear up. But as the MC, I couldn't really say anything, but I mean, the references to the food and calling out so many attributes of Korean American life, I think was probably the most touching for me personally. Not that any of you should really care, but I really appreciate every single thing that you mentioned that made me think of my own upbringing. So thank you for being part of the fold. Just to remind our participants, there is one question I'm going to throw out to everybody. And we're going to go in the order that you performed in terms of answering. How many people do we have joining our Zoom?